The next stop on our trip is Liard Hot Springs RV Park, which was small and out in the middle of nowhere, but it was right across from the hot springs. That map right there shows you the number of hours of daylight, which is a weird amount. So it's different for us. We had to go down to the camp store to get Wi-Fi and call everybody, and then we went over to the hot springs, which had some boardwalks for walking around. The hot springs themselves stay about 106 on one end and 99 on the other end. Did see some moose while we were there. It was pretty cool. They were just wandering about, munching on things. All girl moose, no horns, guys. The park itself actually has electric fence all the way around to keep the wildlife out of the RV part of the park and out of the hot springs area of the park, which was pretty wild that they have to do that. But it was really beautiful. We got to see the falls that bring the water down into the actual hot spring. I did some soaking. Mike did some soaking as well, but he got out to take some pictures. It was really relaxing. There were lots of people just chilling there in the natural hot springs. Really beautiful place. This is 10:30 at night, FYI. Sun's still up. So then we started our drive into Whitehorse, and we stopped at the Sign Forest and Watson Lake. People bring signs from all over the world to post at the Sign Forest. It's really cool. There were a ton from overseas. I was surprised. But not just like road signs. There's also license plates and signs from businesses. They had some wicked big cookies. With that, we headed into the Yukon. Our next stop was at the Caribou RV Park in Whitehorse. And they were kind of packed in tight, but it was a really nice park. They had a food truck, a store, showers, places to walk. We didn't really do a lot of sightseeing in Whitehorse. But there was, really a city area. We had to say goodbye to my dog Bean while we were Whitehorse, and she'd been fighting with cancer for about 6 years. And we brought her on this trip knowing it might be a possibility that we'd have to say goodbye. It was bittersweet, but she said goodbye and had a great trip, and we moved on our way to head into Destruction Bay area, which everyone had warned us had some pretty rough roads. I mean, I won't say the roads were terrible. We definitely came across worse, but the scenery was absolutely mind-blowing, and we definitely planned to stop back through. There's a ground squirrel that wanted to be my friend. The mountains, sometimes it looked like you were driving right into them, and the water in the bays around the mountains was just absolutely amazing in every way. The Destruction Bay area is a huge bay that encompasses a valley in between some mountains, and the water is super blue and the mountains are super white capped and just gorgeous, and it was just scenery that you can't see anywhere else. After we left Whitehorse, we headed down past Destruction Bay and into Haines Junction, which is a very small town. We found a cool bakery and a restaurant to eat at called Freddy's. The roads and the views were amazingly gorgeous. The background, can you imagine waking up every day with this background in your town? I'm sure they get used to it. I don't know that I ever would. This is the view from our dinner restaurant where we had some burgers. They had ice cream. They had shakes. The view from the porch, you can't beat it. It was great. We ate there, and that was a salad, FYI. I was not impressed. And then we went back. We stayed at a little place called Fast Gas before we got back on the Alaska Highway to head to our next stop. Now, I cannot tell you how happy we were to see the United States border on there, because we were ready to be out of Canada. We saw a little bit of snow when we left Haines Junction, but really it just kind of frosted the ground a little bit. It wasn't sticking or staying, except for a little bit on the sides of the roads. The roads continued to be pretty rough all the way into Alaska. However, look at this view, you guys, with these capped mountains. I mean, this is everywhere. This is everywhere you go. This is the view, the water, and the mountains along the sides of the roads. This particular mountain, it was a very weird road because it looked like you were just driving into the face of a mountain until you got right up to it. The rivers here looked a little weak. They're not the flowing rivers that I'm used to from the East Coast, but they run into these gorgeous bays everywhere you turn. This particular bay was at the edge of the Destruction Bay area, and it just went for miles like this with us riding alongside it. surrounded by these white-capped mountains. It was a beautiful sight, but then this is the river that leads into it, which is a lot of riverbed and not much else. You can see kind of in the video the bumpy roads and how much they bump along. This area was broken up in several places by just gravel. So we would be riding along on pavement and we'd come to an area that was just gravel, and then there would be pavement and then there would be gravel. Our last stop before we went to the US was Beaver Creek, and then we blessedly saw the stars and bars and crossed back into the US. And we were so excited. The roads were immediately better. It was fantastic.